They're women's bathrooms. And we believe, right, that trans women are women. So I think that women should be allowed in women's bathrooms.
I just want to know what like female spaces are because that's what the prompt says. So I want to know like what's your guys' definition of like a female space?
Yeah.
We put them in quotation marks for a reason because we don't think there's actual such thing as a quote unquote female space. That's why I put, you know. Do you believe there's such thing as a specific female space?
Not really, no.
Period. Okay. Do you believe that transgender should be allowed in women's spaces?
I think if they pass, they should be allowed.
What is the? How do you determine somebody being able to pass or not as woman? As a woman.
How much effort they put into, catering to the gender roles as what a woman is supposed to look like. So usually, I'm sorry, when I hear like and this is just from my experience with transgender people and like my sociology classes, the ideology just kind of confuses me because it's based on a lot of like social norms, which I feel like we should be trying to abolish to help people who experience gender dysmorphia or like sex dysmorphia rather than like going like conforming to it. So like,
did you say abolish?
Yeah, abolish like the
You're in
concept
a.
of gender.
Oh, I thought you were saying abolish those that experience this gender dysphoria.
No.
I
I
was
mean
like,
like
well,
no, I mean
that's what you're
like
saying.
I feel like I do believe gender dysmorphia is real. I don't know much
Dysphoria, by the
about it.
way.
Oh,
Body
sorry,
dysmorphia
dysphoria.
is what you're referring to. Gender dysphoria, dysphoria,
Gender dysphoria.
dysmorphia, the two different
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Earlier you said something about how like mental illness can be genetic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if
Typically, they
this
are.
so is gender dysphoria genetic?
It's a part of the brain. Yeah.
So do you think
Do you?
there's
What do you think genetic? What do you think genetic means?
I think it means that you have like a genetic like you're like predisposed to it in a way. It doesn't
Do
mean
you
it's
believe it's hereditary, like they're getting it from somebody else? Because
yes, but
that's
I don't
not.
think the
Oh no
mental.
no 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 no
Oh,
no. No. Yeah, no, that's not what it means. Gender dysphoria itself is actually very. It's like it's not as well studied first and foremost due to the fact that it's like such a gen. It's funny enough. It's like not a commonly common case, right? However, it is studied upon. It's not in regards like hereditary as like you're getting from their parents or grandparents or anything like that. It's actually something. So the research is there. They're still actively studying upon it and everything. But we believe we're first and foremost where trans is coming from because trans and gender dysphoria are two different things. Trans itself, right, is coming within the brain. This is something that's actually developed as an infant and the understanding of that misalignment or incongruence is actually something of which a person would pick up on as a toddler. When you add gender dysphoria to that, part of that is going to be about being trans, right? But it's not always the case. A person that has diagnosed with gender dysphoria that they are trans. It's really complex, actually. It's
so
complex.
sorry.
But
Do you have?
no,
Oh,
so
sorry.
go ahead because
Do you
I
have
might have to move
any?
on.
Do you have any sources on like how people experience gender dysphoria? Because I don't understand it.
Experience
Yeah, like
gender
what is it? What
dysphoria?
does it feel like?
You might have to just look into some studies of gender dysphoria, but if you're just curious about it, you can literally look up the DSM-5 of gender dysphoria itself. You can also go on like Google Scholar. They'll actually give you a lot of research papers and everything about the experience itself. You can go NIH. APA actually is probably going to be the best bet of which you can go. They keep it quote unquote simple, right? So honestly, you just look up gender dysphoria APH or APA, sorry, not H,
Okay.
and then see what they tell you and everything. But there is multiple sources about gender dysphoria that's out there. They may not tell you like the specific experience from each individual, but they will explain to you the symptom, where it's typically coming from, this, that, and the other, how to diagnose it, blah blah blah. They'll break it down for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Was there anything else? Or were you really just curious about those few things? Because we might have to
I
move
was
on.
curious because I don't really understand what female spaces are, but if they
Girl, me
do
neither.
exist,
Period. Me neither. I don't either. Ego, how old are you?
Hello, yes. I am 19 years old. I was born in 2006, September 28th.
You're a Libra baby. Okay, don't disappoint me. Do you agree or disagree?
I strongly well, it depends. I disagree with the point in as in people transitioning from male to female. I don't think you should be able to be allowed in women's spaces, especially if
Transition
you
from
have a
male to
penis.
female? What are the
Yes.
female spaces? What are female spaces?
Locker rooms, bathrooms, public bathrooms. I would say, I don't
And
know.
these are female spaces or
Well,
gender
yeah, public
spaces?
bathrooms, when bathrooms are labeled man and woman, I wouldn't want to
So
see
gender.
anyone with a penis
So
in a woman's
gender.
bathroom.
Wait, I actually can I ask
Well,
a quick
hopefully
question?
nobody will because the stall's there.
No, but actually, what about trans men who now have a penis? You are saying you want to see them because you're saying that they should be in the bathroom with you or in the locker room with you. I think that you guys don't think about that aspect because you're still going to see it. You're just now saying that you think if someone is born female, if they've been assigned female at birth, then they should be in the women's locker room. Some of them will have penises. Have
So
you
I
thought
think
of that?
for that, I think they would want to be in the men's locker room. So I think
But
it's
you
just
no, but they can't be. You just said that they
no.
would have to
I'm
be
saying
in
the
the.
conversation's on people who men who are going as a woman and who want to be in a woman's locker room while still having a penis. Because I don't think trans men
You said
want.
that they should be in the men's bathroom, but you're literally up here saying that you think people should go in the bathrooms that are aligned with what they were assigned at birth. You can't have it both ways. If you
I
think
think
that
they
they
should go
should
in the
be, then that
bathroom
means
with
that
the
trans
criteria
men
they
would.
have.
Well,
That's
that's a
what
different.
I'm saying.
But that's different than what you're saying.
No, that's
Saying
what I
that
meant to say. You interrupted me. You didn't let me finish my point. But yeah, that's what I
I
meant.
absolutely did. I waited till you were done, and that's when I spoke. Let's
I
not
was
lie.
not. You kind of
I
said.
literally, I never cut you off, right?
Yeah, you
The
did. I
problem
didn't
here
finish
is,
my.
hey, ego, you won't win. I didn't
Okay,
cut
then.
you off. I literally waited till you were done,
I'll
and
let you
now that
go.
you don't like
You
what
can
I'm
make the conversation.
saying, you're trying to
No, I
say
said
that.
continue. Go ahead, babe.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're
What
welcome.
you were saying until I just brought up this point was that people that are female or people that were male should not be allowed in female spaces. That's literally what you've been saying until I just brought up this point.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
that means that what you're
Ma'am.
stating is, see how you're cutting me off? And this is victim mentality. Oh my God.
Victim attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But
yeah,
then tell
it
me.
is. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So that means that you think that someone who is born female, right? That means you think that person should be in the women's locker room. Except that that would mean that you think that trans men
Thank you.
should be in women's locker rooms. Hi, I'm going to introduce you to Goose.
Hello, Ego. I am Goose, assigned female at birth. Nice to meet you. You want
Nice to
me,
meet you.
you're advocating for me to be in women's spaces. Is that true?
Okay. Am I allowed
Is that
to
true?
talk now?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. So I don't know if either you were hearing me, but before I was interrupted, I said I don't think people with penises should be allowed in women's bathroom. And then what I was about to say is that I only think you should be allowed in the bathroom with the assigned genitalia you have. I don't think you should be
So
allowed
that's
in
two
the
different
women's
things, by the
bathroom.
way. This is what Adorno was calling you out on. You
No,
do.
it's what I'm telling you because before you cut me off, I did
So
say
if I were to
that
tell
women that
you,
didn't have
and
a
no
penis
shade,
you
I'm
still
just going to
allowed
use
them in the
Goose, and Goose,
bathroom.
I'm so sorry to use you as an example. But Ego, if I were to tell you
Yes.
that Goose had a penis, but he was assigned female at birth, what bathroom is he going to? Where
I
is he
said I
going?
do think he should be in the women's bathroom, yes.
The woman's. But literally 3 minutes ago, you were telling Adorno that he should be in the men's bathroom. Three
I
minutes
did
ago, you said
say
that.
that. I said if you have a penis, I wouldn't want you in a women's bathroom. But okay,
But
let
you
me.
are, but you're,
How do you know?
but right now, you
Right
said that
now,
he needs to go into the women's bathroom.
I did not say that. I said
You
if you have a
literally just. Oh,
penis,
okay.
you should be
You're
in the women's
Literally just said that.
gaslighting.
men's bathroom, not
You
women's bathroom.
literally just said that just now.
I said if you have a penis, you should go in the women's bathroom.
You said that Goose should go in the women's bathroom. You just said that.
If he has a penis He should go in the men's bathroom. He has a vagina. He should go in the women's bathroom.
How do you know what people have in their pants? That's fucking sick, man.
I'm saying
I
that
mean,
I would
how
trust their
many times?
judgment. I would hope
How
that people. I wouldn't want to have someone with a penis entering a women's bathroom. I would hope that they would have enough sense to not
So,
enter a women's bathroom.
let
as
me ask.
Goose
Let me
is
ask,
asking,
let me ask Geek
uh,
and Adorna. In your how many years you've been on this planet, have you ever
mhm,
seen another person's genitalia in a public bathroom?
never,
I have not seen, but I don't think it should be allowed
Never.
because I think it
ever.
opens.
Like never experienced that, and this is what I'm talking about, ego, right? You're saying that this is what should be happening, right? You're putting emphasis on something in particular, but you yourself just now admitted that you actually have no clue what's in people's pants. So once again, how are you going to like determine whether like somebody like Goose, right, who is a signed female at birth but has, I guess, the male genitalia, how are you going to determine whether or not he's going to be able to go into the women's restroom or the men's restroom?
As I said before, I think I would hope they have enough judgment to not
How
enter.
are you determining
I
what is
said I'm
in
not
his
determined. I said I hope
pants?
they would. I don't think you just heard what I said. I would hope they would themselves have enough common
So
sense
you
to not enter
so
women's
fundamentally
bathroom.
you actually wouldn't care because you're not checking.
No, I would care. I wouldn't agree if someone went online saying that they can enter a women's bathroom and they do have a penis still. And they didn't go through the science surgeries. I
So
would
what
hope.
is
Well,
the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Goose.
no, I was just going to ask Ego, how are you going to prevent cisgender men claiming to be trans men assigned female at birth from entering women's spaces?
Yeah, that as I said before, I wouldn't be checking. I don't know why you would think it would be up to me. But I would hope for people like how regular people, like how a man would never enter a woman's bathroom.
No, they
A
do.
cisgender man would
Yeah, they
never
do it
enter a
all the
woman's
time,
bathroom.
actually. Mhm.
What a regular man, cisgender man, not a rapist or something, entering a woman's
Yeah, they
bathroom?
enter the women's restroom all the time.
Yeah, how he wouldn't usually one is just wants to use the bathroom. If a man wants to use the bathroom, cisgender man, and he sees two signs, woman, man, he would usually enter the men's bathroom.
Okay, and if he
And I
doesn't,
would want a similar situation for if a trans man who still has male genitalia, I would want him to. I would really prefer
so I want to
if he would
ask you
enter.
a question, right? Trans woman that has a vagina, you are saying that they should be allowed in the women's restroom, correct? Despite the fact
Yes,
that they're
that's what I
signed,
said.
you do believe. So it's really just based off the genitalia for you.
Yes, as I was saying before.
But why,
No.
if we have stalls, like in the women's bathroom, there are stalls, you're never going to see someone else's genitalia. So why do you care what genitalia they have? If it's just about genitalia, does that matter to you?
I feel like the same argument could go for anything, like how of a cisgender
Well, can
man.
you answer this argument?
Yeah, can you
Can you
answer
answer
this
this one
question, please?
before we continue?
If you're saying that it's just about, because you don't care if it's someone that was assigned female or male at birth, you just care which genitalia they have. If you're never going to see the genitalia because there are stalls, why does it matter? Why do you care what genitalia they have if you're not going to see the genitalia?
It matters because it shouldn't be happening. I wouldn't want to even see cisgender men entering a woman's bathroom. I
Oh,
don't
so
want
you're
Right.
a
And
to
hall
so,
monitor. You were a
and so
hall
like,
monitor in high school, if that's what it is.
a hall
and
Because
monitor
you
so,
don't
so,
actually care, you just want to be able to tattle.
tattle. If
Yeah.
I see a cisgender, would you be comfortable with a cisgender man entering a woman's bathroom?
Yeah, if there are stalls, like let's say, first of all, this happens, right? Like for example,
All the
you see it
time.
happen in reverse when there are, let's say there are concerts and the women's line is really long, and then you see women going in the men's bathroom. It happens. Like I'm not sure of what the problem is. If you're going in there to do your business and then wash your hands and leave, why do I care? What? It does not make any sense. It's literally just wanting to control other people. It's just about control. That's it.
Well, I think assigned gender. I think it's important. I think people should have assigned spaces for them where they can enter a space knowing another gender isn't allowed, especially if for a lot of women they might have trauma or something with male genitalia. I don't think they
So
should
once again,
be
sorry,
able to
ego.
exist.
Although I'm gonna be real with you. I think that your argument's a little bit flawed because first and foremost, you already admitted about a few moments ago that the genitalia we actually don't know what the genitalia is, right? You also admitted that typically, trans men are able to go into the men's restroom if they have a penis, and trans women are able to go into the women's restroom if they have a vagina. But at the same time, we actually don't know what type of genital they'll have at the end of the day. right? You acknowledge that there's going to be cases of which a cis woman would go into the men's restroom, in which a cis man will go into the women's restroom. You're acknowledging those things. So I'm going to say your argument is a little bit flawed because you're still basing it off of the fact of their genitalia, but we don't know that.
Okay, you know what? I'll be willing to somewhat agree with the point that if we don't know and if someone doesn't have malicious intentions, that I guess I wouldn't matter what bathroom they're using. But I still
Okay.
think for other female spaces, like, I don't know, let's say trans women entering sports. What is your stance on that? Trans women entering female sports.
If they're going through the specific requirements that's needed, then I don't care.
Do you know what the specific requirements are for trans women entering female sports?
Yeah, absolutely. The NCAA has actively been studying and pushing upon this. Now, I will say recently, I don't think that they're going to allow anybody to be in professional collegiate sports
Oh wait, I'm just going
altogether.
to you real quick. And by
But
female sports, I mean sports that are specifically made for females, like women's basketball, women's soccer, things like that. That's what I mean. But continue on, please.
right, because that's what we're referring to, apparently.
Yes,
Right?
I always wanted to make that
Okay,
clear.
cool. Yeah, so as long as the trans woman is meeting specific requirements, it's more so in regards to like the HRT, and sometimes it will be due to their muscle mass and so on and so forth. Depending on what sport they're going to, it can also be based off weight as well. As long as they're meeting the requirements, then why the hell not?
Well, would you agree that it would be unfair if someone
No,
who hasn't transitioned,
I don't agree
who
with
has a
that. I don't think
penis,
it's unfair.
would be entering a woman's sport? Like, let's say someone with a penis, but they go by a woman and they
The
appear
penis
as
itself doesn't make them fucking stronger. Why the fuck would I care? Respectfully, as a person that was an
well,
athlete
it
my entire
does.
life until my adulthood,
Testosterone
until
does
my
give you
hey,
more muscular
the
mass.
penis itself does not make the person stronger, babes, which is what you keep on referring to. Let's say a
Yes, it
trans woman
does.
did have it.
Testosterone
Let's stop
produces
talking. Let's
more.
say the trans woman stopped talking. Let's say the trans woman did have a penis, right? But they have taken HRT. They have met all the requirements to compete with me in track. Let's say that is absolutely the fucking case. Them having a penis is not going to change the fact that they're still able to literally compete with me and we are on the same fucking level. You do realize that, right?
If they still have a penis and if not under HRT and they're still producing testosterone, I think it would give them an unfair advantage. I don't think they
They
shouldn't be
they
able.
wouldn't be competing if there's no medical transition. They're not meeting the criteria to be able to compete.
But how are they fact checking that someone is actively taking HRT?
So,
The same
They
way
can
that
have
they fact
medication
check
for it.
it's actually the
what?
same way that they fact check cis people that are able to compete in their sports, right? Now, I don't know if you realize this, right? But a lot of black people actually are the main ones that get hurt when it comes down to the hormone testing, right? Because of our natural levels of higher testosterone. A lot of black cis females actually get tested more than their like other counterparts. And a lot of times we're not able to compete, unfortunately, right? But the thing is, that's been set in place not only for trans women or trans men. This has been a thing for decades. It's been intact for years. You didn't
But
like this is not new for even trans women or trans men that are competing in a professional collegiate like level at all.
well, I feel like
Actually,
it is very obvious to tell
Ego,
between
let me
a
ask you
single.
like a dead question. Let me ask you like a
Sure.
genuine question. I'm curious. How many trans people overall are competing in professional sports?
I know that it's a thing that's happening because
I'm not. Do you know the number?
no, I do not know the number.
10.
10 people.
10.
Well, I still think it should be because obviously, as we get more progressive, more people are going to join. So I still think it should be regulated.
Yeah, but
Do you think? Sorry, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
if the concern is an unfair advantage and rules and testing is done are done to remove the unfair advantage, or at least to make sure that everyone is pretty much on a level playing field,
Yes.
then what is the issue? Because the problem here is that bigotry is like an unreasonable belief, right? So if the problem is unfair advantage and that unfair advantage is taken into account and removed, and you still don't want it, well, it's just because you're a bigot. It's
No,
unreasonable. That
if they
then
have a
just makes
penis.
you bigoted, because then the reason that you're giving, if that is removed and you still don't want it, then that's not really the reason. That's the problem.
What do you mean that's really reason? I just said multiple times, if they still have a penis, then I
Yeah,
wouldn't
if the
want them
whole
to
point
penis.
is, so the reason that you're giving is because they have an unfair advantage, for example, in terms of strength, etc. The host, let's follow this straight line. The host said, let's say someone still has a penis, right? Let's say they still have one, that they're taking HRT, etc. Perhaps since puberty and all this other kind of stuff, they've done things that pretty much make it so that they don't necessarily have more muscle mass, etc. So let's say testing is done, because in order to compete, for example, in those really big, like the Olympics, for example, they do testing. You can't just get up there and start running. There's testing done to make sure you fall within particular parameters. So let's say someone has a penis, but after the testing, it's found that they fall within the parameters that would make it a fair race with me, who is cisgender or a woman, right? Then what is the issue? If it's now a fair race because they've tested and said, you guys are pretty evenly matched, what is the issue then? If the race is now fair, what's the issue?
The
Oh, like
penis.
I said with the bathroom, that
No,
as long as they're taking HRT, then I would agree. And yeah, there should be allowed. I said that point before. I don't know why you're acting like you haven't heard me. And also another thing I want to add,
Never
is there's
heard-
But
three of
you
guys
didn't say that
arguing.
earlier. We've
Never
been
said
working on
that.
the same argument
talk,
for the last
please?
5 minutes. If you didn't say that earlier, Ego, you didn't say that.
Can I talk, please? Can I talk?
Sure.
I have said this point multiple times. I don't know if you guys, or my mic is not working, but I have said before, is if they want a penis and are actually taking HRT, then I don't think they should be allowed in sports. Another thing I'd like to add is there's three of you guys arguing the same point with me, but there's only one of me. So can I have someone else come in?
Do you want to call? You want to call on your Pokemon?
Oh yeah, I do think it's unfair to have three of you guys here and only one of me. I don't know, and
I
especially
don't know.
Bonafide.
Is
Goose, who
there
wasn't
an?
even here
I mean, I
earlier.
don't think it's going to change anything because, as you see, when I talk, Goose is quiet. Adorna's quiet. When Adorna talks,
No,
I get
I've been
quiet.
interrupted
Goose
multiple
is quiet.
times.
Well, I'm the host.
I
I
do
only
think-
actually I've cut off Adorna more times than I've cut off you, girl. But you are a girl, right?
Just cut off just now.
Like this is no shade. Like, but you are a girl. I'm sorry. I don't never want to assume. Ego.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. Yeah, but no. To be fair, I've cut off Adorna more times than I've cut off you in the last 10 minutes. To be fair, right? But with that being said, though, I don't know if there's any ops right now. I can see, but I don't think it's going to change anything, right? Because it's not like we're ganging up on you or attacking you. We're all just asking the same questions over and over to see if you actually understand your own argument.
My
Goose
only
is actually
point
being
is
real
that-
quiet. He's only said a few things. So
Yeah, I'm not talking. When I was referring to Goose, I said he wasn't here when I first joined the live, and then he suddenly popped in.
I was.
I don't know.
No, I
what
was.
he's
I was.
about.
yeah, he's been here for a minute.
Yeah, the issue is this. The issue is that whenever you say something and then we manage to disprove that thing, then you're like, that's not what I meant. I didn't say that. I actually did say that. That's just not true. All along, you've been stating because they have a penis, because they have a penis. And now when we're like, let's say they level the playing field, you're like, all along I was saying if they take HRT. Words never came out of your, not even once, ever. Never said that. So that's the issue.
Don't you think when I'm saying if the issue is the penis and they're taking something to remove what my issue is, don't you think that that's what my point is referring to? If I'm saying, well, my problem is that trans women who have not transitioned and have a penis are in this field or in bathrooms, that's my problem. And then you're saying, what if they take HRT? Then wouldn't that go back to my own point and saying that, yes, if they have a penis, then they shouldn't be allowed. They do. They should not be allowed.
Do you think HRT removes penises?
I was just about to say you're complaining. I was just about to ask that.
I think you have like a. I think she has
Well,
like
I'm
an
assuming they're going
aversion
to
to penis.
HRT. I'm assuming they're
She
also
might.
going towards the steps and
But
getting
you're
surgery too.
you're complaining like HRT to penis right now, right? Even within the conversation of like sports, right? Because we just gave you an example of like, let's say the person does have the penis, but they literally don't have like the typical male testosterone levels. Obviously, they have typical female testosterone levels, the same typical female body mass, so on and so forth, to be able to compete. What is your answer? Are they able to compete or no? Not.
I think as long as they're taking work, because I also know that HRT does reduce testosterone and it adds more estrogen. So I think if they're actively taking HRT, then yes, I do think they should be allowed in female spaces like women's sports.
Oh,
I will be willing to admit that, yeah, I suppose bathrooms don't matter too much, as long as they're
Okay.
doing the business and as long as they're not being weird or creepy about it, then yeah, I think they should be allowed in bathrooms as long as
In
they're just doing the
sports?
business. Getting no, I mean in women's
In,
bathrooms. I think
and
as
in
long
sports is what I'm asking you.
in sports, yeah, as long as they're taking HRT, then yeah, I think they should be allowed.
But if they had a penis, is it still okay?
If they were taking HRT, then I think it should be okay as long as they're taking HRT, but they have to be actively taking it.
And how do we?
I don't know how
You know
sports
what?
would
I
regulate
feel
that.
like we're just gonna keep on asking you questions, and then we're gonna somehow get to the same. Like we're gonna go right back to the beginning.
Well, I'm
So,
answering your questions. What are you confused about?
well, I'm not confused. I think you're confused, respectfully. Okay,
So
because
can you elaborate, please?
well, no, because I feel like if I were to ask you, and how do we determine a person being on HRT, you would say, well, I don't know, right?
Well, what's your question? I don't know what you're referring
That's
to.
my question. How do we determine that somebody would be on HRT and actively is taking HRT? How do you determine that?
Well, I'm assuming with all
There
of the
are
little
blood cell,
measurements.
there are blood work that you could do that is able to test out your. I am currently on testosterone. Sorry for jumping in. I'm currently on testosterone. I'm female to male. I was coming in to agree that trans women are women, but I feel like it's really depending on if they should be allowed in female spaces. I think it just really depends on the comfortability
Well,
of the
let me
other
ask
women
you
in those
then.
female spaces.
Let me
Absolutely.
ask you then, because I don't think Ego
Disagree.
actually would know the answer, I guess, for here, right? So you as a you're a trans man? Trans
Yeah.
female? Okay, cool. So how would you determine somebody being on HRT within like these spaces, like the restrooms, or like obviously as we're talking about
So
sports? How
that's
do we
not
determine that?
for the other person's argument's sake. For like sports wise, there are definitely levels that are able to show. I don't know what the exact word is. I only know when the opposite. I'm able to tell what my testosterone level intake is based off of what I have personally taken. If it has affected my blood or whatever. I don't know the exact science behind it. I'm more here for a learning experience than really anything. But I do know that it does show up in lab work based on
But not
levels
in
if it's a safe.
restrooms,
Yeah, no, I'm
right?
talking about for like sports and everything. When it comes to restrooms,
Okay.
I don't give a fuck if you're on HRT, testosterone, as long as I feel like you look comfortably the part and it makes other people comfortable with and you don't make a big deal out of it. Cause with some trans women that I'm seeing on TikTok every now and then, I'm not gonna go naming names. There are definitely certain of a combination of them that are making a big